Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're doing well. It's another edition of Coffee with Kelly. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Um, I knew there was going to be a lot of communication and release during this Thanksgiving, and boy, it really hit us. And I can understand because I had a release and communication similar, and it was on a Thanksgiving about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's a time where we need to let people know that we need to take a hiatus within ourselves so we can understand ourselves better to be able to deal with situations. Um, you know, a lot of things happen over this Thanksgiving weekend, especially in Chicago. We had a lot of protests, and individual people have their own, you know, free at last communication. And, that's something that sometimes you need to go through once in your life, or twice, or 10 times, or however amount of time it takes you to learn what you need to learn. And, you know, but I wanted to talk about how we communicate and how we release. And communication and release, you have to do it in a way as to where you are not going to harm other people, because it's not going to make you any better than they are. So we want to rise above that. We want to have ourselves seen as a person who can handle themselves diplomatically. You know, um, I understand there's a lot of fear in this world and there's a lot of hatred in this world, but you know what? It's not against everybody. When you have that fear and that hatred, you are looking at a mirror. That's something that you need to work on within yourself. It's not us against them. It's us against ourselves, because we have that fear. That fear could be instilled in us as we're children when we're growing up. That fear could be um, something that we learn through a life experience. That hatred could be through something. Some people don't even know why they hate. I mean, you know, let's take an example. A lot of people, white people in particular, when they're walking down the street and they'll see a black person behind them and they're like, "Oh God, let me hold on tighter to my purse." Why? I mean, that is just a stereotypical reaction that you get from things that are instilled in you that sometimes you've never even experienced. So sometimes you need to go into yourself and to comprehend those problems. You need to walk in other people's shoes to understand that, what's going on. And it's not just between the white and black community. It could be, you know, um, when we hear somebody in a restaurant and they're speaking a foreign language. And everybody turns around and like, can you just please speak English? And you don't know exactly what that person's talking about. That person could be relating to one of their loved ones, that their family member just passed away, or that their child had an accident. And you're bringing more hatred in to make that situation even worse. You know, when you don't understand what other people are communicating, that is a fear in you, because the first thing you think about, oh, they're talking about me. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, people aren't worried about what other people are doing unless you guys are doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. Most of the time, we're in our own world and our own business, and nobody really um, relates to what's going on in that, and they don't think that way. So we have to pull back on that fear. We have to go in and take a hiatus sometimes. When I did my communication and release, it was uh, a very trying time, because I had to communicate a lot of things that I felt through the years, and I had to release a lot of people, a lot. And it could be hurtful. It does. It hurts. And you have to step back and go into yourself and see what's for your greater good and what's for your greater growth. And if you are not going to be giving into the fear and the hatred anymore, and you're not going to be giving in to all of um, the miscommunications that are going on, or the gossip, because all of those are ego based. When you can't be pointing fingers at people, because you got four fingers pointing right back at you. We all need to take a bath sometime. I'm talking about a spiritual bath. We need to go in and clean out all of our stuff that we have in there, and refresh ourselves. Because if you are not whole as a person, spiritually and physically, you cannot be a healer. You cannot be a preacher. And you personally cannot be a judge, because you still have things that you're working on. So we need to, step back and look at that and understand. I lived in a lot of countries in this world. I did a lot of traveling when I was younger, and I learned a lot of things. And especially where I grew up. I grew up in a community where there was a lot of us, but there was like a divide line between where we lived and where they lived. But the thing is, what people don't understand is that you can live on one block and they can live on another block, but you all go to school together. So guess what? You learn. You learn to walk in other people's shoes, and you learn to hear the things that you hear at home about other people are not true, because you are personally having a relationship with that person. So you can't take that stuff into factor. You have to listen to what your inner guidance tells you to do. And your inner guidance shouldn't tell you to go out and smash stores down because somebody died. Yes, it's very tragic. But you have to think about, if you want people to understand you and you want people to communicate with you, you're going to have to be able to communicate diplomatically and peacefully, because you want people to see that you are not that same kind of person that brought other people down. You want people to see that you can rise above that situation, and that you have that capacity through your own divine skills and your divine knowledge and your love, that you could get beyond that and help other people grow. You don't want to have that fear based where you're growing up. There's the people that'll be like, I try not to be stereotypical, but let me give you some examples, because this is the way we learn when you live through examples. You'll be walking down the street, and all of a sudden you'll see a black person walking. And what's the first thing that a lot of people do? They hold on to their purse, put their stuff away, put their cell phone away, and it's like, why? Why? Because the news is telling you that, all these people just stole on the subway, or this happened here downtown, or this and this and that. So the news is turn the news off. Because if you personally know people of other colors, you personally know that not everybody's going to do that, and it's not just, everybody steals. The biggest people who steal here are Wall Street. I mean, bankers. We got white collar workers that will take everybody's funds right from under our feet. And they don't have to walk down the street behind us. They could do it right behind their desk on the computer. So that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. It just makes us understand that we need to rise above that, okay? We need to rise above that fear. When you hear somebody in a restaurant and they're speaking a different language, don't let that hatred in you go, hey, you're in America, you need to speak English. Because you don't know if that person is communicating to a loved one, that they just had a family member that passed away, or a child that's sick. When you don't understand when somebody's communicating, that's just a blockage that you have. That is a blockage that you have based on fear, thinking that those people are talking about you, and they're not. 9 times out of 10, people don't even really react to what's going on around them. They're, the one-on-one with who they're communicating with, because that's just the way our brain works. So, if you can't understand in your own language what people are saying, and you rise to the hatred and the ego and the lashing out attitude, how are you going to understand what other people are saying in different languages? I've lived in a lot of different countries, and I was able to um, walk in a lot of people's shoes. And let me tell you, every time I come back here home to Chicago with all of its crime and with all of its this and this and that and whatever we have, let me tell you, we are blessed. We are blessed a million times over because, yes, you could be saying that you're being discriminated on or you're not being understood. I understand discrimination. I lived in other countries. I was the different color person, the different language person, the different religion person. I understand. I understand. You know, I understand slavery because the Irish people, we were slaves too. And we were cheaper than the African slaves because they had to import the African slaves because they were, from Nigeria. And us, all they did was take us right from next door, and there was a big thing because, that was when all the big crime against Catholic and all that stuff was going on. So yeah, I understand about that. And we have to not dwell in that. We have to not dwell in that. And when we have things that are happening in this world, we have to let um, things happen diplomatically. We can't go back to medieval times where we're coming and pillaging and burning down towns. That's not the way we're living anymore. We don't want to live in a war-ridden country. I've seen war-ridden countries. It's not fun. And if you think you have it bad here, you should really actually try going to Africa sometimes because I don't think it's really nice to eat clay cookies, Do you really want to eat clay cookies if you don't have anything to eat? Do you really want to live in a country that the cartel has taken over and you can't even go to the grocery store without getting shot? We have it good here. So let's take care of each other. And when we have people that are coming here from other places, let's take care of them too. Because we are all from different places. And we need to help each other. Okay, guys? So let's do our cards for this week. Let's see. Okay, we got card number 1, Monday, Tuesday. Card number 2 for the middle of the week, and then let's get a great weekend, okay? A great weekend of peace and love, and here we go. Card number 3. Okay, so for card number 1, we have the 4 of Fire. 4 of Fire. Now, 4 is about stability, and stability comes within yourself. And you see it's a red sign, and it's like the root chakra. If you see, I have my chakras back over here, and the bottom one is red, and it's the root, and it's stability, and it's grounding. And this is talking about that we have contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, this successful completion of a project. Okay, but it is also talking about how do you have that perfect marriage? It doesn't have to be the marriage between husband and wife. I'm talking about the perfect marriage between yourself and your higher self. You have to have that perfect marriage because if you are not okay with the way you are on the inside, you're always going to find faults in every other person. And that's what we're going through right now. So it's good that we communicated and released, and we are going to take a hiatus and go within ourselves to examine what we really need to do to start understanding each other. Because believe me, we are not going to be able to handle anything else if we can't handle ourselves. We need to go in and correct what we have going on there. But that's a great card. That's a card of happy family life, happy home life. And we're in our homeland. And for us to be happy as a homeland, we need to take care of each other because there's a lot of us and we're all different kinds. We need to help each other and take care of each other. So that's Monday and Tuesday. And and that's nice. We have the successful completion of a project. So that means whatever we were working on is come to a culmination. And we're going to start bearing the fruits of that. So if your protests in communications work through diplomatic processes, you're going to see the fruits of that. Okay? Live within yourself and walk within your divine light. And find your own contentment and peace and abundance within yourself, because when you start feeling those things towards yourself, you're going to be able to exude that towards other people. When you are happy within yourself, when you feel peace in yourself, you are not going to want any external forces to overrun that peace. You're going to try to keep that peace no matter what, because that's what you have inside. So let's work on ourselves, everybody. Let's work on ourselves. If you want to be heard, educate yourself. Go in and look for the right way to communicate things. Look for the right way. Be better. Always be one step better than you were yesterday. Be one step better than that next person who is hating or bringing fear. That's the way we have contentment, peace, joy, and abundance. When we are able to fight our own demons and walk through that. That's Monday, Tuesday, and that's good. So we're coming out of that communication and releasing and all of that fear that comes with that, and we're walking into the completion of that project. We got our abundance and our contentment and a happy family life and happy marriage, or a marriage not with only within our family, but our marriage within ourself, our marriage to our higher self. That's what is going to keep us content. Now, for the middle of the week, we have the 7 of water. Now, water is emotional sign, and a 7 is it's like you have to have faith, okay? You have to have faith in yourself. So this is a complex decision. So you need to have faith in yourself and make that decision. You see here they have 7 cups, and each cup has a different color representing the different chakras. So you usually would pick, it's time for you now to choose. You have to choose which cup do you want and start working towards that. You have to do research and stop procrastinating. It's time for you now to make a solid decision, because now you're coming into where your project is completing, and now you're coming to where you need to decide what you're going to do with that. Okay? So that's a have faith in yourself sign. You went in and you checked yourself out on the inside, and you're thinking, and you listen to your intuition, listen to your divine wisdom. It's going to tell you which cup to pick, and that you're going to research, and you're going to study, and you're going to go in, and you're going to come back out an amazing butterfly. So that's where we're at for the middle of the week. And for the end of the week, we have the Chariot. The Chariot is also a 7. Do you see that? We had a 7 of water, and then we had a 4 of fire. The Chariot is Archangel Metatron. Now, Archangel Metatron was like our only archangel. Well, no, he's one of 2 archangels that we had, that he was actually a human, and then God ascended him and changed him into an archangel. And he was Enoch here. He was the lost book of the Bible, Enoch. And he's coming in on his chariot because he has just won, and this is his recognition. This is public recognition. That means you might get an award or get some kind of recognition of a great achievement that you have done. And this is self-discipline and willpower, that you willed yourself to it, and you were disciplined in it, and it's coming to a fruition. So everything that's going on in this world, let it go on, because it's the way that it's supposed to be, and this is the way that we learn. And when you're coming in riding your chariot, that you finally accomplished something. You are one step ahead than you were yesterday. You've accomplished something. You have to remember that the chariot are also two very thin wheels. And if you ride in too fast, those wheels can fall apart. So you need to stay in your integrity and stay in your strength and your willpower. The chariot is action and force and victory. So maybe all of those releasing communications that were going on over Thanksgiving are going to have some fruition. Um, it, you never know. Things can work either way, and whatever way that it works is going to be all within its divine way. So that's what we just have to accept, everybody. I understand about different colors and different anxieties and everything. I mean, look, I've got a white Christmas tree, and let me tell you, that gives me anxiety because, I'm traditional. I want everything looking, traditional, and the green tree with the red bows. But, sometimes you gotta think out of the box and put in front of you what most gives you anxiety and work with it and learn to love it. And this is my second year with this tree, and I'm learning to love it. I'm starting to love it. I love it. So that's what we do. That's how we work with things. We confront our fears, and we study about things so we can understand, so we don't have the hatred against that kind of thing. So we have a good week. We have a 7 and a 7 and a 4. That's 18. And 18, 1 plus 8 is 9 in numerology. And 9 is fruition. So there you go. When you add up all the cards and you wanted to do a numerology on this, you'd have 7, 7, 4, which is 18. And then you would, 1 plus 8 is 9, and 9 would be the base numerology number, and 9 is the ending. That means that's the fruition, that's the harvest, that is the time when we are going to receive all of our peace, contentment, abundance, and a happy home life. And I wish a happy home life for all of you, everybody, because you all deserve it, because that's what we were put here, to have happiness and to have abundance and to have fruition and to have number 9s. That means that we are released everything from that, and we came to that end, and we're into that fruition. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm sending you tons of love, tons of angel blessings, and we'll see what we do next week. I'm wishing that everybody will take care of each other, take care of your loved ones. It's all about love. Learn to love your white Christmas tree. Learn to love your neighbor who speaks a different language. Learn to love yourself, because that's where your stability and your fruition definitely comes from, and that's where you will find your abundance, my darlings. So have a wonderful week, and don't forget to always hold the light. Bye-bye.